friend. Happy New Year. I hope you're having a great start to the year 2026. I am happy to be back on Way to Eat, and I am so happy to get started. So, Way to Eat, for those of you who do not know, is a platform really that is dedicated to provide context specific, practical nutrition information to guide your lifestyle. And so I know every beginning of the year we make what we call New Year's resolutions. And more often than not, one of those resolutions is usually to lose weight for many of us because our lifestyles have greatly changed. And there's been what we call the nutrition transition, basically a shift in the way that we eat. Traditional diets have been done away with, and there are all these kinds of foods that are causing a number of health problems. And so, beginning of the year like this, many of us want to make those resolutions that will bring health, will bring wellness in every way possible. So today specifically, I want to talk about weight loss in the context of postpartum. So after you've delivered, what next? You have this excess weight, which is normal, by the way. Okay. I think every pregnant woman out there gains some weight. How much weight is dependent on a number of other factors. But truth of the matter is weight gain must happen because you're carrying life. And so from the look of things, I'm sure you can tell that I have gained quite a lot of weight over the past few months. I've had a number of you also comment in my comment sections, say, hey, you're gaining weight. And I did announce towards the end of 2025 that I was pregnant. And now I have a bouncing baby boy who I am breastfeeding, and he's doing very well. So when it comes to weight loss, postpartum, I want to be as practical as possible using myself as an example. I really want you to start this journey with me. If you're also on a weight loss journey for whatever reason, whether you've delivered a baby as well, or you just want to lose weight, basically the principle is the same. So I have gained a lot of weight and I plan to lose weight. I am swollen. As you can see, my feet are swollen. And this is all because of the excess weight and also the medications I'm currently taking and so on and so forth. But the principle is the same. Whether you're a man, whether you're a woman, you can pick one or two things from what I'll be discussing here today. So what is my strategy to lose weight? You may be wondering. I am not going to be taking no slimming teas or slimming whatever, and I want you to trust me on that one. I will not be on some funny diet where I'm only eating, I don't know, cabbage, soup, and God knows what. I'll be eating the same foods that are around you as well. But it is how I combine the foods, when I eat, how much I eat, and so forth. And so I want us to start this journey together. Some strategies that I personally plan to employ are: number one, breastfeeding. We tend to talk about breastfeeding in the context of the baby, right? We say breastfeeding is good for the child. It helps with prevention of stunting. It helps with the goodness that formula can never give the child. For example, special fats that are important for brain development for the child. So yes, in as much as that is good for the child, we need to also talk about breastfeeding in the context of the mother. It also helps the mother lose weight and prevent a number of other health complications. So as I breastfeed, or as you breastfeed, if you're a breastfeeding mom, you notice that the uterus is contracting. So you move from looking like this, which is what I look like currently, that pooch, that big belly from delivering a baby. Sometimes it remains if you're not breastfeeding or if your diet is not correct, but breastfeeding helps to squeeze the uterus back to its pre-pregnancy state. And so when you put the baby to the breast, I know it is not an easy process. It is painful. The latching can be quite painful and hair-raising, but be rest assured that the more you do it, the easier it becomes. And also that your uterus is contracting. As that is happening, your uterus is also being cleaned of whatever debris may have remained in there. And so, trust the process, right? So as that is happening, you are also losing weight because that stomach protruding goes back in. And before you know it, you will not even look like you've ever had a child before. And so if you're out there, please breastfeed your baby. It is the best, not only for the child, but also for you. It also prevents ovarian cancer. It is known to prevent also breast cancer because that milk, when you choose not to breastfeed, milk has already started being produced. I know most mothers complain in the early stages of breastfeeding, milk taire fuma, milk taire fuma. It is forming. It is forming. And the process is that first it's a colorless liquid that comes out, which is the first immunization of the baby. So when you see atikule fuma fya amenshi adia the first immunization before idia BCG bapera abana after is it 1 week or so, because you're going to leave that hospital, the baby is exposed to germs, you are in a ward with different women and so forth. So what is protecting that child, that newborn baby? It is that colorless stuff that comes out. So don't look at it and say, we female shifty. No, it is immunization. But for you, the mother, prevention of ovarian cancer, prevention of breast cancer, because when you leave that milk being formed in your breasts, it doesn't know where else to go. And mind you, it contains a little bit of glucose or sugar, and so cancerous cells love to feed on sugar. Years later, you expose yourself to breast cancer. So breastfeed your baby to avoid these unnecessary conditions. But also, it is cost effective. I know our economy is booming, and I'm so happy. I'm excited that Zambia is on the globe. We are doing fine. But we also want to do fine at household level. Not so. Formula is not cheap. So breastfeeding is good not only for baby, also for mother, helping her go back to her pre-pregnancy weight. So that's my number one strategy to get back to pre-pregnancy weight. Even a little bit, because I know when I fell pregnant, I was a bit on the chubby end. So I want to go back to my safe zone of about 72, 78, where I have stayed comfortably for years. And please, I want you to note that this I'm doing is not for aesthetic reasons. This is not weight loss to look good. This is not weight loss for a big bum. This is not. I know people call me and say, "How can I have a bigger bum with diet? How can I introduce hips? How can I this?" I am not an esthetician. I'm not a beautician. I'm not a plastic surgeon. I know nothing about that. I am talking strictly from a point of health. Excess weight on you is not good, especially as a woman. You're pregnant now or you've delivered now, you have excess weight. If you do not aim to go back to your pre-pregnancy weight, the next pregnancy will find you obese. The risk of having an obese child and other complications due to obesity increase. So you find that your first child is 3 kgs, the next child is 3.5, the next child, the bigger the baby, the higher the risk of not only complications during delivery, but also later on in life in that child's life. It's shown that obese babies are at risk of non-communicable diseases in their adult life. And you as the mother, increased risk of gestational diabetes, increased risk of hypertension, where even after you deliver, you still have these conditions. And so to avoid that, going back to pre-pregnancy weight is important. My second strategy to lose weight is actually to watch what I eat. I know during pregnancy, I did have some cravings. I did have some cravings. Sometimes you wake up and you're like, I want to eat chitumboa. You know those chitumboas that went to private school somewhere around in Nyumbayanga, Chalala there's one lady who sells very nice chitumboas. Sometimes I'll just wake up and I'm like, I just want those. Not the one padiwana dodo, not the one yamena yaja. And so it's normal to have cravings during pregnancy, in as much as you have to still control how much you eat. But right now that I've delivered, I think I'm back to my normal self, no more cravings, no more whatever. So I am planning to watch what I eat. And how will I do that? More fiber, more protein, and less simple sugars. I say less because I think in our Zambian context, it's very difficult to say absolutely no sugar, because even the bread that is available to us, let's be honest, it's white bread, it's refined. So that is still sugar. You know, the fumbuas that I've talked about, that is still sugar. Udia coca cracker, that is still sugar. So keep it to a minimum. And how I plan to do that is to load, if I'm going to have, for example, bread, instead of having 4 slices of bread, I would rather have 2 and load it with protein as well as more fiber like vegetables. So I'll give an example of maybe 2 toasted slices of bread, white bread that is, with avocado, with tomato, lettuce, or even beans, whatever is available at that moment, right? And so the key that I want to remember for myself is more fiber, more protein, less refined sugar, or less simple sugar. I actually do not want to be adding sugar to my tea. I think that I can do away with. I'll get sugar from these other sources, again, minimal sugar, but nothing from tea and nothing from these funny drinks. So diet is important. More fiber, because fiber will keep you full for a longer time. I don't plan to eat 3 meals a day. I don't even know who came up with that structure, but I think our lifestyles have changed so much that we do not need 3 meals in a day. Even me as a breastfeeding mom, I know I need a bit more energy, but I'm on maternity leave at the moment and mostly at home. So I don't need excess energy. It's not like I'm farming or doing manual labor while I'm at home. I have a lot of support around the house. So I'm not doing much. And so one main meal and maybe a snack in a day is all that I need. At 10 hours, I eat something, and then my 17 hours, I have my dinner slash lunch slash dinner, and that is it, right? So, but those 2 meals have to be loaded with the nutrients that I have talked about. Strategy number 3 for me is to drink a lot of water. As a breastfeeding mother, how the body works is thirst and hunger. The body does not communicate the two differently. So you find that you are really thirsty, but what you are craving for, what you are going for is food, to quench the thirst. So and I get that a lot from mothers who are breastfeeding. You eat easily, and probably because you are thirsty, but instead of drinking water, you are eating and nibbling here and there, and that is not necessary. So one strategy, or how you go about it, is to ensure that when you feel hungry, in quotes, it could be thirst. So drink a glass of water and have water near and around you everywhere. I should have a glass of water right next to me here. By your bedside in the night, have a bottle of water. Have a bottle of water when you're watching TV. Carry, if you can, buy one of those big containers of water and sit comfortably somewhere and sip on that water through the day, right? Even at night, drink, because as the baby is sucking, you are also losing a lot of water, which can be easily confused for hunger. And so you end up reaching out for that slice of bread, for those crackers, for whatever, mango, for, things like that. And you end up eating anyhow without really controlling. By the end of the day, you can't even remember what you ate in the morning when you woke up. So water, water, water. If you drink water and you still feel hungry, then that is real hunger. Strategy number 4 for me is physical activity. This is time to get back to walking. In the 3rd trimester, I'll not lie to you, I thought I was going to be, actually throughout the pregnancy, I thought I was going to be this mom, expectant mom who is energetic, walking, running. I see all these videos of even nutrition colleagues, and you find them exercising. Even on the last day, on the day of delivery, they are on a bouncing ball, exercising. And I thought I was going to be one of those women. Unfortunately, I was a couch potato. Not by choice, but I just couldn't get myself to do anything. The bones felt like they had given up on me, and the will was there, but the body was just not responding accordingly. I was aching everywhere, my back, my legs, my this. And so physical activity is something I plan to go back to. I love to walk. For those who know me, I can walk to anywhere. If you have a challenge for me to walk to, I don't know, Livingston, I think I'm ready. Because walking is one of those physical exercises that is often neglected. People don't think of it much, but the longer you walk, actually, the more effective the exercise is. And so that is something I plan to do. Walk a lot more. I'll start with 5 kilometers, then push it to 8, and then push it to 10. And then once I'm back at work, I usually walk from my workplace. And that would definitely help, not only with weight loss, but also mental health, mental stability. That is very important. Strategy number 5 is sleep. Ladies and gentlemen, sleep. Sleep is very important. We take it for granted. Hormones are regulated when you are asleep. You avoid stress hormone building up when you have less sleep. So, mummies out there, if you are breastfeeding and you have to wake up intermittently throughout the night, you may want to ensure that when baby sleeps, you take also that opportunity to sleep. It will help with weight management as well, because the less stressed your body is, the more responsive it is to weight loss strategies. But where your weight is high, your stress levels are high, trust me, the chances of you gaining even more weight are much higher. So take an opportunity to sleep. And so for that to happen, dear family around this woman who is trying to lose weight, support is very important. And that's why we say exclusive breastfeeding cannot happen without support. Support from the employer. We thank God that in Zambia we have at least 3 months of maternity leave. I hear they've pushed it to 98 days now. So it's not 90 days, they've added 8 more days. Hey, every day counts. What is happening at home? What about you, the significant other? How are you supporting this woman breastfeed the child? Our nannies at home also, we need your support. Our sisters, our mothers, and dear mothers and mothers-in-law, when your child has chosen to exclusively breastfeed, please support that. Just recently, I heard on the news, actually, sometime towards the end of 2025, that there was a type of formula, baby formula, that was contaminated, right, with, I don't know, some toxin or something like that. But of course, authorities did come out to say that Zambia was not one of those countries that had that formula. But imagine if it was Zambia, if Zambia was one of those countries, and it can happen, right? It can happen. Formula. But nowadays, we are having a situation where our nutraceutical, pharmaceutical companies are becoming aggressive to the point where they don't even care about you and I. It's about the money. Money that they should be making in 20 years, they want to make it in 2 years. So support this mother who is breastfeeding. Help her rest a lot at home for her to get back to her pre-pregnancy weight. But also, I'm sorry to mention this 6th strategy. If it offends you, I'm sorry, but it's okay. It gives us an opportunity to discuss this further. The issue of contraception. I don't know how you feel about it, but at least there's evidence that it is a contributor to poor weight management in women. Oftentimes, our significant others, the male folk, will say, you've given birth and you've let yourself go. You are just 25 years old, but you look like you are 45. And marriages are breaking because of that. Right? People are leaving their partners because, this person is lazy. But think about it. Hormonal contraception is meant to trick the body to think that it is still pregnant, right? When I take that hormonal pill or yabapela 5 years, it's supposed to trick the body to think that it is pregnant. So it adjusts your hormone situation in the body to make your body think you are still pregnant. And when the body thinks you are still pregnant, what happens in pregnancy? You feel a bit, like I've said, you're not motivated to do anything. You want to sleep all the time. You want to, mood swings, tempers are high, any small thing upsets you. And then you have your male folk think, okay, but what is wrong with this woman? I just told her that I'm just late by 5 minutes and she's already, and you think, I can't live with this woman anymore. But I strongly feel it could also be these contraceptions that we are taking, tricking the body that you're pregnant. You've gained weight because the body is trying to keep as much of the food that you eat, even if it's little food. And so that in itself makes you gain weight. I've seen, and sometimes the weight gain is it's not proportional to the body. Find that it's the arms that become super big, Or you find that it's the neck becomes really big, the face just puffs up. So I don't know. For me, it's also my strategy not to be on any of these hormonal medications. And so, but I'm open for discussion, especially you medical doctors out there, family planning experts. Can we talk about it? Because I feel at these clinics and hospitals after delivery, is it 6 weeks after, when you're sat down to be asked what contraception you'll be taking? And oftentimes you just give us what is available, but we don't really discuss the side effects. We don't really say this causes weight gain, this causes this causes that. But you just don't know. You can be injected for 5 years. You can be injected for 2 years, for 10 years. I don't know. This one you insert, and then whatever, and that's it. And then this woman goes home. She starts to gain weight. She starts to sleep a lot. Supposed to be doing her house chores, but hubby comes home and finds her in bed, sleeping, because her hormones are messed up. She thinks, or the body thinks, she's pregnant. And so the body is telling her sleep. The body is telling her gain. The body is telling her, you're not happy today. You're craving this. Eat crackers, eat whatever. And so that messes up your lifestyle. Risk for hypertension as well. It may increase in some women. Risk for diabetes also increase. Imagine being pregnant, in quotes, for years. For years, Mane. Imagine that. You are in a state of pregnancy for years. I mean, you can develop hypertension. Because for me, towards the end of the last trimester, my blood pressure went up. Of course, not exorbitantly, but it went up. Now imagine if it stayed up like that 15 years. I mean, it's no wonder we are beginning to see high cases of hypertension, maybe in women, right? But again, topic for another day in more detail. But I know of some experts who have talked about this, because I remember mentioning it in one meeting where we were discussing some possible causes of obesity, or the increasing obesity in Zambia. And I mentioned contraception as one of them, and I was shot down. You can't say that. How do you say contraception? Blah, 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 blah. I was like, ooh, okay, sorry. I'm just thinking. I thought we're in a brainstorming session. But people get very apprehensive talking about contraception. But I think we should. We should. Let's make informed choices. Let's make informed decisions. People should not just lump things at us and inject us with all kinds of things. What is it they're injecting, and what is it doing to our bodies? And so, with that said, let's discuss in the comments. I'm open to talking. If you think contraception is not a reason, you're an expert in family planning, please comment. Let's discuss. Share with me the evidence that you have, so that everybody, stays calm. I'm not here to misinform anyone or to push my ideologies on people. I really want us to make informed decisions, whatever decision it may be. Let it be evidence-based. Let it be, something that we can practically take up. I like to be practical. I like to be open. Where I'm wrong, I'll tell you. I think so please correct me if I'm wrong. But for me, at least for now, I am not doing any contraception. Well, any hormone-based contraception. So with that said, I hope you learned a thing or two. And so I'll meet you in the comment section. Bye-bye.